Hello everybody, welcome back to Cape Rugby TV Live on Wednesday nights. Of course, all the rugby fans in Cape Town have joined us. The season heats up now. Club rugby starts this Saturday. This is what we've been waiting for. It's going to get hot. It was big last year. It's going to be even bigger this year. But before we get into our fixtures and take a closer look at the club rugby season as we get into the leagues and the divisions and the premierships, so to speak, my esteemed panel, Mr. Herman Abrams. Hello, Mr. H.
Good evening, JP.
And Jerome Parvater.
Good evening, JP.
And Morgan Newman.
Other James?
I sound like that ook from Noord. Lirieke Rai. What do you call it? Lots of prizes coming up tonight, folks. We'll be giving away some great prizes once again, courtesy of Mesa, Evox, Colortone. And of course, the guys from Tata are handing out R1,000 at this weekend's tournament where Cape Town TV will be, or at least Cape Rugby, will be covering the match between Primrose and Collegians. That is the game of the week. Everybody's been telling me for months that that is going to be a cracker. Both sides have been telling me that they're going to thrash the other sides. So if there's a game to get down to this week, that is the pick of the week so far. Collegians up against Primrose. We're on Twitter right now at Cape Rugby TV. Follow us there. Or get onto Facebook, www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV. Let's hear what you have to say. Who's going to take that victory? Is it going to be Collegians? Is it going to be Primrose? We'll talk more about that later. But one of the lucky players there will walk away with R1,000 man of the match, courtesy of Tata. Of course, Tata Oostenburg and Tata Paul, one of our suppliers and sponsors here at Cape Town TV and Cape Rugby. Very exciting. But let's take a look quickly at the Super 15 results. That was where all the excitement was over the weekend. The Bulls, 32-20, or at least 30 victory over the Crusaders. Cheetahs beating the Lions 26-5. The Highlanders going down to the Stormers 21 points to 6. The Force losing to the Chiefs 20 points to 12. The Reds beating the Brumbies. The Hurricanes, a big victory for them over the Sharks 42-18. And the Rebels beating the Blues 34-23. Gentlemen, Morgs, let's start with the Bulls against the Crusaders. I don't know what your prediction was, but I know what Mr. H's prediction was, so I'm not going to go down that road. But that was pretty close, down to the wire.
Yeah, it was an awesome game, James. I predicted 3 points to the Bulls, so 2 points is
really
close enough. So
that's not bad, eh? That was pretty good.
I didn't climb up 25 places for nothing.
I had the Bulls by 4. Yeah, you have climbed. You have climbed significantly. In actual fact, you were one of the top climbers. Jerome, we're going to skip you on that conversation. Did you go Crusaders or Bulls?
No, I went Bulls.
You went Bulls?
I just showed Mr. H Bulls by 7, and it's a very poor result.
Yeah. They could have done better, huh? The Bulls could have beat the Crusaders by more. I mean, I thought it was a little bit of a... It almost was like a bit of a derby game. I mean, the guys were giving it hell on left, right, and centre.
Yeah, I mean, the Bulls, at the end, the Bulls were lucky. I mean, Carter really, he 3 easy kicks.
Yeah.
And that was the points in the, almost at the end there where there was obstruction for Carter, where they scored.
Yeah,
so,
but if you're playing fail-gat rugby like that, where you're obstructing, then you deserve the penalty.
Yeah, no, that was a penalty, but
you think so?
But
was it
no,
really?
It was a penalty.
Yeah.
I think actually Bjorn Besson done well there to actually tackle Carter.
Yeah.
So he showed the touch that he couldn't get to the guy.
Yes,
so
yes.
that was good.
Okay.
I mean, that's a lesson for rugby players.
Yeah.
Instead of throwing your hands in the air, tackle the guy that's in front of you.
Tackle the guy, show that it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Mr. H, you must be devastated.
Yeah, well, it wasn't nice to watch, you know. I thought that.
I thought it was great.
With the Crusaders, and when when he started missing, I knew that they would have been in trouble because he didn't even play a good game.
Yeah, it looked like he was also protecting him a little bit. They were talking about the fact that maybe they shouldn't be taking some of the kicks. They were worried about his hamstring. They were nursing him back into the game. So maybe they're not still quite there. But I mean, we've never seen the Crusaders really dominate from week 1. And they really start to pick up. So this weekend is going to be really interesting. Stormers. So I know you've got a predicament this week when it comes to your Super Group predictions. The Cheetahs over the Lions, 26-5. I mean, we all sort of expected that. It was a good win for them. But they've got some interesting talent at the Cheetahs. This young Goosen chap trying to slot penalties from 65 metres out. Morgs, is that you've played up there. I think I played at Welkom. Is that reasonable?
I
And
wouldn't
he,
say
he had the distance.
Yeah, no, look, I wouldn't say reasonable. He does kick an extremely long ball, but I must say, we stood out for me, Robert Everson. He's sort of coming to the fore.
No, please, no, come now.
So
No, I'm sorry, I don't buy this whole thing about Magic Sevens players becoming Springbok players in 15-man rugby, or am I wrong?
No, look, I mean, I wouldn't talk Springbok material just yet. But I mean, he's definitely sort of, he's been there, he's been around for a while now. So it's good to see him performing and sort of putting his hand up for higher honours at a later stage.
Don't you think? I think he's one of the most overrated players. I mean, this seems to happen often. You make a big reputation in sevens, then you get into the 15s, and that reputation travels with you. Jerome?
JP, no, I know Robert. He's a very good rugby player, but I actually think the guy that really plays good rugby for them is Willie Leroux, the guy that played Boland last year. I think the way he's playing, he could be close to Springbok selection, and he did not. He went to Griquas hoping that he's going to get one game to play Super Rugby for the Cheetahs, and he's playing most of the games now, and he's one of the finds for them, and he's actually doing well.
Lions are just not getting it right.
Yeah, but with all that injuries, JP, maybe as you said.
Yeah, but I mean, we're seeing just stupid play. I mean, kicking the ball away. I mean, their hand skills was a disgrace. I mean, I didn't really see any player that I thought should deserve their place in the team on the day. I mean, if you quite simply can't take a ball, I mean, forget about the fact that they've got injuries and so on. At that level, you should be able to take a ball when someone puts the ball in your hands. Okay, no comment there.
The captain lost the ball on 3 occasions.
Yeah, I mean, it was just I don't know. I think they could have done better against the Cheetahs. But again, we've seen them come up to the top of the pile. The Chiefs beating the Force, the Brumbies over the Reds, or at least losing to the Reds. The Hurricanes beating the Sharks 42-18. That's a big one, Morgs. Would you have expected that?
Yeah, James, I must say the Sharks have usually been good travellers, but I think they sort of, I don't know, I think they're missing Lambie a little bit over the weekend to a certain degree. It's sort of a general that can take control. But I'm looking forward to this weekend's game. The Sharks will probably lift it on their last leg, so we'll see what happens.
Jerome, we spent a bit of time with the Hurricanes, both of us. I know you had them at UWC when the Hurricanes were here and they were helping with a coaching clinic, and you had the coaches there. They then went on to play that weekend against the Stormers, and they really didn't look to me like they were the kind of class outfit of old. And then they played one more game in South Africa, and they still didn't look to me like the team of old. But they now really seem to be coming into their straps. I think Mark Hammett must be it's coming right for him now.
Yeah, I mean, they've also got a lot of youngsters in their team building now. Nono left, Whipple left, a few guys left. So they're busy building now, so you can see, look, he is a good coach, so you can see now things are starting to happen for him.
Yeah.
And I mean, against the Stormers, they will end up playing with 13 men, 14 men most of the time. And at one stage, they almost got back into the game against the Stormers. I think with their youngsters and things and with their coaching staff, they're really doing something, right? I mean, picking up, so they.
Well, he has got a very unique coaching style. I mean, it was great to see him here that day, and I know we had him on Cape Rugby TV. So Mark Hammett, he's still got a bit of work to do, and he's building it, and he's got some good people around him.
Yeah, he's got good guys with him. So.
Yeah, they eat big steaks. And then the Rebels beating the Blues 34 points to 23. Of course, the pick of the week for us over the weekend was the pleasure of watching the Stormers over the Highlanders. I really thought, Mr. H, I thought that the margin was going to be smaller. Stormers travelling. But it shows that the basics are in place, the players have matured a bit more, and their defensive skills is still winning rugby.
Yeah, and their support play.
Yes.
You know, the try that the fullbacks, Joe Peterson, scored.
I mean, what a try.
You know, he was just there. He was a few seconds earlier.
Yeah.
He was on this side, and then suddenly was there to collect the ball.
But the one thing that I noticed, and Jerome, you're at the HPC every day with the guys, is that I noticed that the Stormers don't give you any space to move. They're back. The line. If you watch it at any time on TV, the line is one straight line. You know, if you looked at the Lions, they were staggered. They were all over show. But even on attack, they don't run from deep. They were really just keeping the space closed. That no matter how deep the team they were playing against, they get onto them so quickly.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's exactly the way they practice their defense is exactly how they play. So they don't they stick to that, and they believe in their system, and that's important. I mean, no one will go out of that system.
Yeah.
And if you have a guy like Zak Ninabe there, it's almost like he's on the field while they play.
Yes.
You hear how he shouts and things like that.
Yeah.
So when the guys are getting tired, he's actually their voice in their ears to see. So and I hope they're not going to chase him away sometime because the noise that he make there, so he gets the guys up. But they really back their system and they believe in it, and that's why they're so good in that. And I mean, to beat the Highlanders, which I think is the informed side of the New Zealand guys, is great away. So.
And Morgs, you've spoken about this before, is about the importance of what you call the default play, and that's going back to the system. When things are not going right in the middle of the game, is to remind yourself, go back to the system. This is obviously one of the things for club rugby players, is to remember, when things are not going your way, go back to what the coach was teaching you in the week.
I mean, James, that's the one thing that, I mean, defense on defense and on attack for the Stormers is the fact that they've got a system, and whether, I mean, no matter what goes on in the field, they always know they can revert back to it. And that's their security. I mean, if you look at the Stormers' defense on the weekend, they talk about strength in numbers. Yeah. And they'll put a tackler in there, and the rest of the guys will be on their feet wanting to make tackles. And that's what the Stormers' strength is. I mean, you get all these teams that can have all the systems in the world, but at the end of the day, it comes down to the player that really wants to make the tackle.
I've never been wild about Brian Abana playing out of position. You know, the commentators that you hear, they all love giving credit. They never criticize any player, but they've always said, oh, you know, you've got to give credit because he's always looking for work. I've never been wild about players who play out of position, but I must say, on Saturday, there were times that I thought it was good that he was getting into the mix when he was needed and getting back into position when he was not needed.
Yeah, that's exactly JP. I mean, that's off the ball.
Yeah.
And he's got, I mean, in rugby now, he's the guy that really off the ball, he's doing the most on the field.
And he's strong, he's a lot.
Yeah, which is right, because he hardly gets the ball in the game, so he's going to look for work.
Yeah.
So his strength is also to do it off the ball. That's good for him. And I mean, a lot of youngsters can get something out of that if they watch him. He's not just standing there in the wing waiting for the ball. If there's something in the middle, he'll go there, but he's always making the right decisions. That's good.
Well, it was a great result from the Stormers, beating the Highlanders. It was their first game away from home. Obviously, getting off to a good start. And, yeah, that's exactly what we want. And we hope that run of form continues. And if they can stick to their systems, well, I'm sure that all our Super Bowl predictions are going to continue being right. Let's take a look at the conference logs now. See who's on top, who's on the bottom. Of course, in the South African conference, the Stormers are well in front there. It was a race at the one stage. We'll look at the full conference in a minute. It was a race at one stage for the top of the pile between the Highlanders and the Stormers. The Bulls, the Sharks, the Lions and the Cheetahs make up the rest of the South African conference. In the Australian conference, it's the Brumbies on the top. They've flown up to the top out of nowhere. The Reds, the Waratahs, the Rebels and the Force. And in the New Zealand conference, the Chiefs, the Highlanders, the Hurricanes, the Crusaders and the Blues, the legendary Blues right at the bottom. Let's take a look at the full conference now and see who's at the top, who's at the bottom. The Stormers, as I mentioned early on, it was make or break for them as to who would sit in the first place between them and the Highlanders, but the Highlanders slide down into fifth position. The Stormers remain the only unbeaten team in the entire Super 15 season. The Chiefs are in second place, the Brumbies in third, and the Bulls in fourth. Bulls in fourth by a very small margin. That is after their performance over the weekend. Right down at the bottom are the Lions. I think they've been there before, so they're feeling obviously very comfortable. The Cheetahs and the Sharks make up the middle of the table. Right, those are your Super Conference full logs, and looks like the Stormers are doing us proud to stay on the top there. Is it time to start worrying about where you are on the log now, or do you worry about it later? Mr. H, is it game for game?
No, game for game.
Game for game.
Yeah, and I think the Stormers, you know, they're doing the right thing. Like the coach says, we're not worried about bonus points.
Yeah.
We keep on winning our matches first.
Yeah. Well, folks, it's also, of course, time for us to look after some of our sponsors, and I can absolutely guarantee you that while the Stormers are down under there, they are taking their recovery products, they are taking their nutrition supplements, and those are courtesy of Evox Sports Nutrition. Now you can get yourself in the mix as well, starting off with a Rapid Recovery, which we have mentioned a few times. We also have your Mega Grow, which is your protein, as Tim Noakes says, of ultra importance, is to make sure that you have your protein in the mix. And just to top that up is, of course, a little creatine for you, a 200-gram creatine. Here's my Evox Tower. The Tower of Strength? Tower of Power? Any more names we can throw out here? Well, okay.
Leaning tower of Pisa.
Yeah. No, there's no pizza involved in this, that's for sure. But this is what you need, folks, to get yourself through the rugby season. Recovery is what gets you through game to game, gym to gym. This is what you need, whether you're a runner. It was interesting to see so many tweets over the weekend, the Two Oceans runners that have been using the Rapid Recovery. It is for anybody who's exercising to get them to recover after training. Protein is what you need to take in during the day. It's the only thing that repairs muscles, so very important to keep eating. Young or old, businessman, laborer, tradesman, professional athlete, amateur athlete, protein is what you need to have. Those days of eating 1 meal a day or 2 meals a day is not good for you. You need to eat more meals more often and instinctively. Don't worry so much about what time and that. Eat when you're hungry. And then, of course, the creatine just to add on a little bit more muscle and a little bit more strength. So if you want to win for yourself this Evox hamper, the rugby hamper, all you need to do is SMS the name of the official sports nutrition supplier to 33280, and you can put yourself in the mix. Just tell us who is the official sports nutrition supplier to Western Province Rugby and the DHL Stormers, and of course to Club Rugby. You as a Club Rugby player can get these products. Just go to the Club Rugby website, www.wpclubrugby.co.za. Put yourself in the mix to get yourself sponsored rates directly from Evox. All right, last week's winner, courtesy of Evox Advanced Nutrition, the rugby pack, goes to Terry Ngube. Congratulations, Terry. You win yourself the Rapid Recovery, the Mega Grow, and the Creatine. And as I say, all you need to do is tell us who is the official sports nutrition supplier to Western Province Rugby and the DHL Stormers and Western Province Club Rugby. It's time for us to take an ad break, and when we come back, we'll be taking a look at some of the events that happened over the weekend. It was, of course, the Easter Weekend Rugby Festival at Laguna at the Nyanga Stadium. Teams from all over the country came to participate. It was a little bit wet, but it was great fun. We'll check that out after the ad break. Hello everybody, welcome back to Cape Rugby TV. We're of course live on Wednesday nights. You can speak to us right now on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV, or find us on Twitter at Cape Rugby, just at Cape Rugby TV, that is. Just send us your questions, send us your tweets, anything for the panel. Don't forget this weekend, and this is where the advertising starts to kick in for the sponsors. We're out to cover the match between Collegians at Lentegeur over the weekend and Jive Primrose. It's going to be a cracker of a match, and I expect the community out there to be there in full force. It's going to be a monster. Mr. H, talking about community, what a weekend. This Easter Weekend Festival at Laguna. Teams from all over the country. It was quite spectacular.
Yeah, there were 13 teams from up country at that tournament and another 16 at the tournament in NY49.
Yeah.
So it was fantastic.
It was quite a spectacular event. I mean, I know the weather was a little bit against the guys. It was rather wet. Very difficult for us to get footage. But we managed to catch up with some of the delegates and dignitaries at the event. Let's take a look and see what was going on at Laguna over the weekend. Right, folks, with me now here at the Easter Tournament at Laguna. Of course, the host of the Easter Tournament here in Nyanga Stadium is Oregon Hoskins, the president of SA Rugby. Oregon, nice to be out here today.
Yes, it's a wonderful experience to be here. This is one of our brand Easter Tournament festivals in the country. It's an important one. Western Province is an important province. We saw the Stormers doing well this morning in their first away match against the Highlanders. It was a great win for a South African team that hasn't lost. And this is what what happens in the backyard of Western Province. It is important for us from a club rugby perspective to support township rugby. Laguna, we know 20 years, since unity. It is highly symbolic, not just of the coming together of the townships to form that strengthened position, but it's also 20 years of Saru unified. So it's great being here, notwithstanding the Cape weather.
Yeah.
It's good to be here.
If you just look at it, most of these guys have travelled from all over the country, and most of them come from townships, most of them from development areas.
Yes.
It's of course very important for them to get this level of interaction and experience.
I think the greatest thing about that is the Motherwell Club. Coming from Motherwell Township, where 6 of their players were lost in a tragic drowning that took place. It's very sad. Nobody expected it. They weren't even deep in the water, and the currents took the players away. We're just lucky that more weren't lost, but they've come to the tournament. In the spirit of rugby and in the spirit of their lost comrades, they've come here to play and to participate, and that's what rugby is all about.
Do you get the feeling, as the president of SA Rugby, do you get the feeling that rugby really is one of those things that's sort of helping communities come together, helping families come together, that we're restoring the pride in South Africa through sport?
I think if you look around here today and yesterday when I was here, you see the support for the Springbok. Everybody here has taken ownership of that, and it augurs well for our country. I think rugby tries to continue to create the cement to keep our people together. We saw that in 1995, we saw it in Soweto when the Bulls went to go and play there. We saw it in 2007 when we won the World Cup, and we're still looking forward to greater things that rugby can do for this great country of ours.
Our involvement with this rugby tournament, especially that is taking place in our townships, if we focus on the staff development, sport development, where we want to make sure that the sport on the ground is being motivated and is happening. The nice thing about this tournament is that, first of all, it's taking place in our facilities, because we've got a number of facilities in our areas, and we want to make sure that those facilities are being used.
Rugby TV! Well, there you go, folks. We were out there at Laguna Rugby Club over the weekend, and of course lots of teams from all over the country. And the interesting thing is that Google had not mapped the stadium, so it was kind of hard to find that stadium. But now if you go to the Western Province Club Rugby site, we're starting to map via GPS coordinates the various clubs. So now you can go to the Club Rugby website and you can click on Laguna, and it will show you exactly where the Nyanga Stadium is. You can also go to Young Brothers, you go to lots of teams, as the teams are all getting tagged. And now, so in other words, Google is now starting to help Club Rugby through our media seminars. We're teaching the guys how to do this. It's very important. It means you can find those locations quite easily. Mr. H, how important are these kind of Easter weekend tournaments? I mean, this is a 4 or 5 day tournament. You had politicians out there. You had the president of SA Rugby there out there.
Now, JP, what it does at this stage is it brings all the role players together. Normally at club rugby level, it will just be the club playing against another club. Tournament of this nature, the city is involved. The mayor was supposed to be there. The Minister of Sport was supposed to be there. I think the rain made them change their minds.
The Mayor, the Minister of Sport, the President of SA Rugby.
All of them. And, they all made contributions.
Yeah.
SA Rugby made a huge contribution. The Western Province Rugby made a huge contribution. The city made a huge contribution. The Department of Sport made contributions.
I mean, we're talking about contribution. Let's be a little bit more specific so people actually know that it's not just contribution that you... politician's statement. I mean, we're talking about sorting out the fields. They helped with the lights. They helped with the painting of the facilities.
We got a new fence.
They got the fence
around the field.
Yeah. So
the travelling was all paid. The accommodation was all paid.
And they did this all because they knew Cape Rugby TV was coming.
Exactly.
That's what the politicians do. You bring the TV, and the politicians come out of the woodwork to make sure that they look after those facilities. Why? Because they need your vote. And they need your vote in the rugby space, because they know that there's more people watching this show than any other show in the country right now. So you know that the politicians are coming around to Cape Rugby. So if you've got a councillor in your area, by the way, you can ask your councillor why it is that your lights are not working, or your irrigation is broken, or that somebody is walking around with a ladder in St. George's, at Gustro. All right, although I believe that they have put the ladder back now. But a lot of facilities still out there that need a lot of help, Mr. H. Looking for lights.
Maybe they will just invite us to come around.
Well, we will come around. We will happily come around as soon as they comply. So, but we will be getting out there, of course, this weekend. Collegians, Primrose, I'm looking for your comments on Facebook. I want to see what you guys have to say here in terms of your predictions. Collegians and Primrose at Lentegeur. What do you make of that game? Is it going to be a Collegians win? Is it going to be a Primrose win? What is it? It's the Gat, huh? That's what they call it,
yeah.
The Gat. Yeah, but it's going to be a tough game. Jerome, how do you see that going?
Yeah, no, it's going to be a real tough one. I don't want to make predictions because I...
yeah, well, now we have your prediction experience. We know
yeah.
where you are on the log.
But yeah, I think it's going to be a real tough one.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hard one. At Lentegeur is not easy going there to go play there. And yeah, but I think it's good. I don't want to be one of that teams because to start the season it's going to be like really hard to start.
It's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough. Yeah.
Start a season like that. We'll take a look at some of the other club rugby predictions during the course of the show. Or at least fixtures. There's going to be a whole ton of fixtures. We get into the heart and meat of it right now. Right, it's time for us to run another competition here. Mesa have been so special to us during the course of the season. And last week we gave away a Mesa keyboard. You remember the keyboard that you're just attached to your TV or to your panel, and everything is in that computer. Now, the winner of last week's Mesa keyboard computer, which of course it contains 4 gigabytes of RAM, 320 gigabyte hard drive, Windows 7, a mouse, and they threw in the mouse and the monitor for free. Congratulations to Jonathan Ludewijk. Jonathan, you're our winner this week. You win that Mesa keyboard PC. You can almost fit it in your pocket. That's how small it is. Our prize this week, though, once again, Mesa coming to the party on the technology. Of course, Mesa is the official IT supplier to Western Province Rugby. You can win for yourself this Mesa Express Slate tablet PC. It's got an Atom processor, 2 gigabytes memory, 32 gigabyte solid state hard drive. It's about 11.6 inches in terms of screen. Microsoft 7 is on it. It's got built-in Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So you want to win this tablet. It's interesting that people still think of iPads as tablets, but no, you get other tablets out there today as well. If you want to win this, just tell us who is the official IT supplier to Western Province Rugby. Send your answer now. Don't forget your names, but send your answer, the official supplier, that's the word I'm looking for, to 33280. Okay, folks, I need you to start saving that number, 33280. Because all our competitions run off that same number. The tweets are starting to pour in here. Solarians Rugby Football Club sent one in to Cape Rugby TV, wishing best of luck to all the clubs for the 2012 league campaign. Gaff Lucan, looks like Gafur Lucan, my guess there. Reminds me of Western Province Club Rugby Forum a few years back. Of course, that's the Western Province Club Rugby website where it gets so heated. He reckons most of the critics on that forum have never stepped on a rugby field. That's always interesting. And of course, we're waiting for your comments on Facebook to see if you can tell us who it is that you think is going to be that winner between Primrose and Collegians. So great competitions there. Of course, courtesy of Mesa, and once again that SMS that you need to send to 33280. It's starting to build up now. The club rugby fever. Do you think, Jerome? I mean, you've really been spending a lot of time at the clubs. Do you get the feeling that the clubs have pre-seasoned, off-season, trained enough to get into the season?
Yeah, it's JP. The guys really, they put in all the effort in. I mean, most of the clubs got gyms at their facilities now, so they know how important is it to work on your conditioning. And the pre-season were good. They had lots of friendly games to prepare.
Yeah.
And I've been to a lot of clubs.
I was going to ask you actually, how many clubs do you think you've been to in the last 2 or 3 months?
Yes, JP. Every Tuesday and every Thursday I'm at a different club.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of clubs. So I know what the guys were doing, and they were really working hard, and everybody's excited about the season. And we had the refs in with the coaches. So they know about the new rules and things in what to work on and things. So everybody's excited, and I think it's going to be a real good season. And, I think the most important thing, the message that we give out to them, and also Mr. H on that side, is the discipline, which was a little bit better last year. So the guys, every time if I go to a field and to a club, that's the most important thing, is the discipline. So hopefully we'll see good results and good discipline this season.
Well, if they're not disciplined, then obviously we're going to catch them on camera. We'll put that on TV. Because there are quite a lot of beeping sounds that I have to put out from time to time. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting season. Let's look at some of your tweets that have come in here from Zahid 4, Western Province. He wants to know about the Spitbraai. Still trying to find it. Also went on to say perhaps Jerome can cast the Cape Town TV Weather Channel presenter. He says it's overcast every day. You'll know sunshine when you see it. Incidentally, Jerome, if you can please send a message to your brother for me. All right, I'm not very happy with him. What's his name? Koos. Koos, if you're out there, all right, if you're going to do an April Fool's joke on me, please do it on the 1st of April. All right? Koos abused me when I went to Brackenfell or down to Kraaifontein. He said he didn't like any of the members of the panel. And I, of course, didn't know that he was your brother at the time.
Sapie, the worst thing is that you actually agreed with him, that me and Mr. H don't know anything about that.
I said, well, I've got to take what I can get. I just don't get paid. You know, there's no budget. He said, but at the same time, he was so bloody big and ugly. I wasn't going to argue with him. You know?
I was going to say now.
But yeah, of course, don't make your silly jokes. I have to keep them at Belleville, okay? Yeah. And then just a final one, Mr. H. Here's another one from Sahid, Western Province. He talking here about, he hopes that Google Maps can direct Mr. H to St. George's. I hope that he didn't forget that his club was started by his
Mother.
Oh my Morgan? Jerome? Anybody?
The grandfather.
It was started by his grandfather, which any Cape Rugby TV fan that actually, yeah. You see, if you were on the other side...
It's Jerome's mom that's
yes, but we're talking about the fact St. George... You see, if you were on the other side of the camera, on the TV side, then you would know the answer to these questions, because everybody in the world of Cape Rugby knows that Mr. H's grandfather actually started St. George's.
I just think someone's mother was involved somewhere, Jim.
Yes, but that's been quite exciting, very exciting at least. Let's quickly take a look at Leisure Hotels, our supporting sponsor. Leisure Hotels giving us some great support during the course of the season. And once again, you can win yourself a night's accommodation at Leisure Hotels, courtesy of Strand Towers. Win bed and breakfast there. Just send the word leisure into 33280. Last week's winner was Peter Poole. Congratulations to Peter. You win yourself a night's accommodation, bed and breakfast at the Strand Towers. And of course, you can see there once again, all you need to do to win yourself that prize, courtesy of Leisure Hotels, is to SMS the word leisure to 33280. Right, just ignore that 32010 there. Go back to that previous image, and it's 33280. The word leisure to 33280. Right, and you could put yourself in the mix to win a night's accommodation, courtesy of Leisure Hotels at the Strand Towers. When we come back, we'll start taking a look at some of the other events that were taking place over the weekend. Of course, very important for the referees to start recruiting young people to come and referee. The South African Rugby Referees campaign is currently underway. We'll take a look at that after the ad break. Back in a mo. Hello folks, welcome back to Cape Rugby TV, and of course now it's time for us to take a look at our referee segment. Very important for you to become referees. Mr. H, without rugby referees, there's no game.
Yeah, there's no game, and you know, today it becomes a career.
Yeah.
Those guys are paid mega bucks when they end up at the top.
Yes.
So you don't have to be a rugby player. Go and become a referee.
Jerome, when you finish playing, obviously you go into coaching, but it's quite nice to stay in the mix as a referee.
Yeah, it's nice to be involved, and also one thing that referees, what Ben Tron said, is that most of the time guys finish playing club rugby when they're 30, 32 years old.
Yeah.
So that guys normally...
Well, in some cases, I know we've still got some 50-year-old playing.
going to refereeing. But they're also busy now with young guys with injuries and things who can't play or who some sort of can't do contact sports. So I know they're busy with very young guys now. Guys are 14, 15. They're involved with the refereeing now. And I think it's a good thing to be involved in. If you know you're not going to make it to the top, maybe you can become a Jonathan Kaplan.
And there's definitely like a sort of a, I mean, there's a vibe for referees, eh?
Yeah, Jace, I mean, look, if you go down to the sports science and all that kind of thing, the referees always doing testing, they create a good environment. I think, you know, even down in Stellenbosch, I've seen the referees training together. So there's really, I mean, it was, before I always used to, it was fondly looked upon, but now I really see it's becoming sort of a good vibe, and the Oaks are really, you know, sort of creating their own little team, if you want to call it that. So, no, it's good to see.
They have referees, coaches, they train every Monday night. It's not like you're just a referee and you go there and they put a whistle in your
There's a whole social circle there. There's black tie dinners and there's golf days and the whole story. And yeah, well, we actually managed to catch up with Eugene Daniels. He's the head coach for the South African Referees Academy. Let's see what he has to say and why it is important that you should become a referee, or at least consider becoming a referee to stay in the mix of rugby. Let's check it out and catch up with Eugene Daniels.
Blow the whistle, become a referee. Visit www.sareferees.co.za or SMS referee to 082 328 4878.
Right, folks, here we are, of course, at the Easter weekend rugby festival at Laguna in Nyanga, at the Nyanga Stadium, and with me is Eugene Daniels. Eugene is the head coach for SARA, the South African Referees Association. Eugene, of course, a lot of work to do here today, but nice to have all these qualified referees.
Yes, they're also here to learn and to come through the system, and we give them quality coaching and assess. And what we do after each game, we have like a feedback session where we give them the daily tendencies which happen in all the games, and then we've got one-on-ones where we have coach, referee, and what went wrong in this game and how to fix.
Tell us a little bit more about SA Rugby and the referee recruitment and development process.
We want to go into the rural areas and get the referees of color to bring them into the streamline, coach them, and so they can go through and become national referees at the end of the day.
Do you think it's exciting to be a referee?
Yeah, it's very exciting, although you get a lot of flack from the sideline, but we teach and taught them how to deal with it and concentrate that what happens in front of you between the four lines.
Now, if I want to become a referee, what do I need to do?
Go to any union website and go to referees, and they'll have all the details, contact person, fax number, email address, and you can fill in the form, and that referees development officer of the specific society will contact you, and they'll put you through the courses, Box Smart, for example, level 1 AR courses, etc.
If we just talk about becoming a referee, we're talking about IRB level 1, IRB level 2, you need to be Box Smart qualified. Is that the process? Is that what you have to go through? Is it difficult to do?
No, it's not difficult because you don't need, the only thing you have to pass is your fitness level and your IRB law exam. The others is just attendance, so you can get a broader mind of what the refereeing is all about.
Do you need to be a rugby expert to be a good rugby referee?
I don't think so. If I can give you an example, Jonathan Kaplan never played rugby in his life.
Yeah.
And he's one of the greatest in the game of rugby.
So one doesn't have to be nervous about becoming a referee, you can just come out and enjoy it?
No, not at all, because at the end of the day, any sport, whether you're a referee, it's about enjoyment.
Yeah. Eugene, listen, thank you very much, and of course we hope that thousands of people out there will join the referees and become referees, because without the refs we've got no game.
It's a pleasure talking to you, and we've got a shortage of referees. I think we currently about 2,000, and we need about 8,000 to serve the game of rugby in South Africa.
There you go, folks. Referees, get to your local rugby union and find out how to join up and become a ref. It looks like it's great fun, and of course today the referee's as big a celebrity as the player on the field right next to him. We'll catch up with you guys a little bit later. Bye-bye.
Blow the whistle. Become a referee. Visit www.sareferees.co.za or SMS referee to 082 328 4878.
Well, the tweets are starting to come in, the Facebook comments are starting to come in. A couple of questions then for the panel. Mr. H, when is the deadline for new players? This is from Connie Constance. When is the deadline for new player registrations?
Come and gone.
It's come and gone. Sorry, Connie. Player registrations are come and gone. Why is JP's mic so loud compared to the guests? Please. I'm trying to work out what it says. It's because I project. I'm allowed. Ek 'n groot bek. That's my word is. There was a couple of other posts that have come in here. What's your view on the NNK versus Kales River game? We're going to get into that in a minute or so. What can one do about clubs that don't want to give? Oh, we've got to try and expand all these things here. A little bit of, I don't know, you know, this new Facebook system really looks a little bit dodgy. Nasif van der Skyf sent in a post. Primrose will be in for a surprise, according to Nasif. Going to be a cracker. Great to have you guys coming to Mitchell's Plain. Nasif, we can't wait to get out there. This is the game we've earmarked all season, and we're looking forward to that. Julian Johnson, Collegians standing up for rugby in Mitchell's Plain. And Rian Muhammad on Facebook says Collegians all the way. I didn't get my hand hurt at practice tonight for nothing. Going to be a cracker. Well, Ryan, we hope that your hand heals on time, and then if you're in the mix to play there, that you'll be ready for Saturday. But yeah, that is what it is. And of course, it's not always. I see Ansel and April is upset with us because we still haven't come out to taste that scarp, and he tweeted that as much as well. Time for colour tone paints now, folks. You want to get those white line markers around the side of your field. Colour tone paints is the one that can do it for you in an environmentally friendly way. Now it is time for white line fever. Colour tone paints. All you need to do is SMS word colour tone to 33280. Just ignore that number there. 33280. That is the number that you need to SMS to 33280. You'll see it on the next slide there to win the colour tone hamper for your club. SMS your club's name to 33280. This week's winner is Titans Rugby Football Club. Congratulations to Titans Rugby Football Club. Great job. And the guys from Colour Tone Paints will be in touch with you shortly. Available at the nearest hardware outlet closest to you. Time for us now to start looking at those club rugby fixtures. This is where it starts to heat up. Of course, a lot of clubs came into different leagues. Let's start with Super League A and Super League B. Belhar take on Marties. Durban take on False Bay. UCT and Tygerberg, Hammies and Villages. Vixen SK Warmers. In Super League B, it's Bellville and Hands and Hearts. Brackenfell take on Peniel Villages. Collegians and Primrose, Helderberg and Goodwood, NNK and Kales River. Right, so those are a couple of interesting ones there. Let's start with Super League A. Belhar and Marties, Jerome?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one for Marties.
We're not speaking to Morgan now.
At Belhar, they always put up a good fight there, but I think Marties. I don't know how they feel after the Varsity Cup game, and if they're gonna give Morgan a chance to play. I don't know if they're gonna use some older guys. But I think I think it's gonna be a tough one there, and I know Belhar also.
Okay, Belhar Marties.
Winner.
Yes. Marties, all right. Excuse me. Belhar's going to have a little bit of work to do there. I know that they came into Super League A last year. They were upgraded. Of course, that last year's experience is going to work for them this year. It would go a long way, huh?
But they were one of the teams that I've been to a couple of times, and they really work hard, and they've got some good players in, and they really put in the effort. So I think Marties has got the upper hand, but they will put up a fight. So well,
Belhar have done a lot of hard work. They seem to be working on their systems. They've got a couple of new players playing for them now, so it might be, they surprised people last year in their first game. I think they played False Bay and beat them in their first game. Talking about False Bay up against Durban over the weekend. That is at Durbanville. Mr. H, that's not going to be an easy game.
No,
Durbanville will be looking for a win.
Yeah, you don't easily beat Durbanville at
Durbanville, yeah. And UCT take on Tygerberg. There's an opening game. Tygerberg are now up into Super League A. Yeah. And they're playing at UCT.
Yeah.
Spoke to Peter Jooster yesterday, and he said he hopes that the ground isn't too hard and muddy after the Two Oceans was flattening that field. Morgs, you've played at UCT.
He's looking for an excuse.
He's looking for. Nah, he's going to be fine. Morgs, you've played at UCT after the Two Oceans and that kind of thing. What happens on that field?
Yeah, look,
Gets muddy?
I think they've improved the drainage quite a bit, but with the weather, I think if the sun dries it out, it should be okay. But usually around Two Oceans time it rains and the field gets quite soggy, so it should be interesting matchup there.
Derby match, opening of the season as well. Hamilton's and Villagers, and they are playing at Hamilton's. Mr. H, one of the biggest games.
Hamilton should walk.
And but more than that, it's an iconic game. It's two of the oldest clubs in the country.
But
I'm sure you're going to pull more supporters at Hamilton's than Villagers pulls at Villagers.
Probably.
Hamilton's has built up a good support structure.
Yes.
Good systems.
They're a top club.
They're a top club, yeah.
They're a top club.
All right, and then of course Vix against SK Warmers at the Craven Stadium. Morgs, SK Warmers against Vix.
Yeah, James, I've been training with the Vic side all week. I'm in the Naude side this week, but the Vic side's also, they're looking sharp.
Yeah.
It's actually the curtain raiser to the Western Province Pampas game as well. Yeah. So it should be quite a crowd out there at the Craven. Do you
think that crowd is going to, Jerome, you think that crowd's going to lift SK Warmers?
Yeah, definitely.
Or Vix?
No, I think they'll lift SK Warmers. SK also, they've put in a lot of work and they've also got some good players. Morgan said Vix, I say SK.
Well, I tell you, SK are going to have to play a lot better than they played in that warm-up game at Newlands against Helderberg if they are going to want to beat Vix. That was a messy game, lots of arguing on the field. I hope that they've taken a lesson from that, and that SK Warmers go out there and really show why it is that they're in Super League A. Discipline, Mr. H, as you said. In Super League B, it's Belleville against Hands and Hearts. I've got no sympathy for Belleville this week whatsoever. After I was abused so badly by one of the supporters from Belleville on a non-April Fool's Day. Koos, thanks for that, appreciate that. Belleville Hands and Hearts, Jerome, you're close to the bone there.
Not Belleville will take them.
You think so?
Yeah, no. Look, Belleville had a good game against Durbanville at that Craventon Day.
Yes.
I mean, they were leading 13-10 against Durbanville, which is a good side.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've got a good side going. And I mean, last year they beat a lot of teams, which so I think this year they really gonna step up. And I don't know, Hands and Hearts, I think Belleville will take them.
It's Brackenfell Panel Villagers. Collegians take on Primrose. As we said, we were out there already. Helderberg and Goodwood, NNK and Kales River. Morgs, Collegians or Primrose?
It's Chiefs. Atlantic, I've played there before. I think Collegians will be tough to beat.
Jerome?
Primrose.
I'll go for the Cook Sisters.
You go for the Cook Sisters. Yeah. Right, it's going to be a tough game, one way or the other. I know that the guys are absolutely fired up. If we just quickly look at those 10 teams that we've got in there, Belleville, Brackenfell, Collegians, Helderberg, NNK, Hands and Heart, Benil Villagers, Primrose, Goodwood and Kales River. It's early days. If you had to pick one of those teams to get promoted into Super League A, Mr. H, a wild shot. You're the top of our Super Brew prediction pile, so I have to go to you.
I think NNK will do good.
You think NNK are going to do good? They did well last year. They nearly made it. Yeah, so, all right. Let's take a look at the Premier League fixtures then. Let's take a look at what else is coming up over the weekend. Elsie's take on Hamlets, Kraaifontein take on Langa, Scottsdene and Rangers, St George's and Paarl, UWC and Young Peoples. In Premier League B, it's Laguna and Franschhoek, Macassar, Silvertree, Solarians, Milnerton, Stelkort take on Eerste River and Van der Stel are up against Strand United. In Division 1, it's Boland Mark up against Young Stars. Manenberg take on Wraithby. Northerns and Strand, Silverleaf and Rocklands. Young Wesleys and Haberdeers are playing at Philippi. Also Saints and Blue Jets, Atlantis and Temperance at Protea Park. Paarl Rangers against Violets. That fixture is still to be confirmed. Gardens Tech take on Carlamore, Oranje, Sigte, Watsonia and Blue Stars. Interesting match there at Vijge Kraal. Caledonian Roses takes on Critisville at Newfields. Perseverance take on Retreat at City Park. Strand Pioneers and Masipumulele at Abattoir. Whistling Wheels taking Peninsula and Young Ideas again against Boland Mark B. Mr. H, if we just take a look there, Perseverance Retreat at City Park. Those are two teams that are very close together. Again, a big match, City Park starting to bring the crowd.
Yeah, well, I'm not quite sure how those two teams are right at this moment.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of them playing friendlies or anything like that, so I'm not quite sure where they are.
It's a little bit of work to do there.
Just for your information, those clubs at City Park are having a meeting tonight to discuss their future.
And we spoke about that last week.
Yeah.
Where we said we're going to get them to amalgamate.
They are listening to you.
If you're listening, all right, make sure that you don't have like one groot kokkedoor there who just wants to stay in the mix. All right, amalgamate, get it over with, and just be one team. It'll be good for the community, good for the club. The sponsors will come. Tie it together, put all the history in the past. No, but don't forget the history. Division 4, let's take a look at what's happening in that division. And, of course, the Paarl region. Cities and Bishop Lavis in Makawi against Progress playing in Khayelitsha. That's, of course, a home game for Imikawi. Mitchell's Plain United to take on Richmond Ranger. Is Mitchell's Plain United still playing, Mr. H?
No, they're suspended
they
at the
moment. They are suspended. We have
and
got
so is Young People's in Premier League A.
Young People's in Premier League A has been suspended. Mitchell's Plain United. Thistles take on Khayelitsha. Titans take on Delft. Lower Paarl and Parel United. Riverstones, Young Standard, Simonium and Young Gardens. Vineyards and Allendale Violets and Windmill United. Most of those Paarl teams playing at Del Yusufat. Let's quickly just touch on that there. You had two suspensions. Mitchell's Plain United. Why were they suspended?
They were suspended for not attending meetings.
And then you had another suspension?
Young People's. They were suspended for a year for playing an illegal player.
Played an illegal player?
Yeah.
So the discipline at Western Province Rugby, very strict about the rules.
Very strict. If you transgress, and that's the message that must go out early. If you transgress, if you get a red card, you're automatically suspended for 3 weeks. You will then appear, and if you appear before the disciplinary committee, you will be punished.
And I have my own red card for Cape Rugby TV. If you have not sent your information in, you get a red card from Cape Rugby TV. We will not be advertising your events. We will not be coming to broadcast your TV show, which means it's a neglect for you, your players, your community, and your sponsors. Make sure you get your admin details right, all right? Because if you do get your admin details right, the benefits are immense, okay? So get that in. We want to see your coaches, clubs, managers' details. That you need to get through to the union. They're waiting for it. All of your council reps were given those contact details. And if it hasn't come in and you want to get on the show, make sure that you do that, please, guys. Let's take a look at the Stormers lineup coming up then this weekend. It's the Stormers up against the Crusaders. This is a cracker match. It's one of those matches that the fans in Western Province Rugby are a little bit torn between the two teams. Joe Peterson, Gerrit van der Heever, Jean de Jong, Jean de Villiers, Brian Banner, Peter Grant, Dewald Divenage, Dwayne Vermeulen, Reinhard Elstad stays in the mix. Sia Khaleesi, he is number 5 in South Africa's, or at least in the Super 15 tackling ranks. Andries Becker, Eben Etzebeth, Frans Malherbe, Tiaan Liebenberg and Steven Kitsoff. The referee on Saturday is Chris Pollock. They're playing in Christchurch Saturday morning. Kickoff is at 9:35 South African time. Gentlemen, this is, of course, the big one. Morgs, how do you see the Stormers going?
Look, James, I think it's going to be tough for the Stormers, but I must say, with their defense that they've got at the moment and the fact that they're starting to gel nicely, I think the Stormers might just put it at the sort of by 2 or 3 points.
All right, of course. Now time for us to take a look at our Super Brew predictions. We'll take a look at the top 10 and what has happened in the top 10 there now. And remember, you can check us out. Go to superbrew.com, just find the Cape Rugby TV pool. Urban Warrior moves up one place into top. Your top performer, at least over the weekend, was MGA 02, wearing the yellow cap. They climbed 58 points. Your entire panel is not in the top 10 anymore. I don't know what happened over there, huh? Rather sad.
You'll get back there.
You'll get back there. You just dropped by 1, I think. Let's quickly take a look at the Super 15 fixtures coming up this weekend. It's going to be a cracker. It's the Blues against the Sharks, the Force and the Waratahs. The Crusaders take on the Stormers in Christchurch, the Brumbies and the Rebels. The Cheetahs take on the Chiefs, and that's, of course, in Bloemfontein. The Lions take on the Bulls. Time for us to make our Super Brew predictions. Right, so Super Brew prediction time it is. Morgs, we'll start with you. The Blues and the Sharks.
Sharks by 5, JP.
Jerome.
Blues by 9.
Mr. H.
Sharks 4.
Sharks. I'm going to go Blues by 4. And of course, then it's the Force against the Waratahs. Morgs.
Force by 5.
Force by 5. Mr. Jerome.
Waratahs by 8.
Mr. H.
Waratahs the 6.
I'm going to go Force by 6.
That's a good call, James.
And the Crusaders and the Stormers. And Mr. H, years where you are torn between a rock and a hard place. You made your decision and I know what it's going to be. Morgs.
Stormers by 3.
Stormers by 3. Jerome.
Stormers by 3.
Stormers by 3. Mr.
Stormers by 7.
And I'm going Stormers by 5. We're all very, very close on that one. The Brumbies take on the Rebels. Of course, that's in Canberra on Saturday, the coming Saturday. Morgs.
James, I said Brumbies by 10.
Brumbies by 10.
Brumbies by 12.
Brumbies by 12.
Brumbies 3.
Brumbies 3. I've got Brumbies 4. The Cheetahs take on the Chiefs in Bloemfontein. Home ground advantage for the Cheetahs, but against the mighty Chiefs with the one and only one-hit wonder, Sonny Bill Williams. Morgs.
I'm a fan of the Cheetahs, so I'm going for them by 7.
Cheetahs by 7.
Cheetahs by 5.
Cheetahs by 5.
Chiefs 6.
I'm going Chiefs by 10. Sonny Bill Williams is going to tear one of a new one there. It's the Lions against the Bulls. Jerome.
Bulls
12.
Bulls 12.
Bulls 12, yeah. Jerome.
Bulls 12.
Bulls 12.
Bulls 10.
I'm going Bulls 13. Those are your Super Brew predictions. It's going to be a cracker of a match. We're really looking forward to that. Remember, folks, you can get yourself out in the mix. Remember, we are out this weekend at Lentegeur. Collegians take on Primrose. It's going to be a cracker of a match. To the clubs that are out there, we want to get you on the show. We want to give you the publicity, but you need to help us. All right, we need your info. We need your pictures. Start coming to the media seminars. Ask your council reps, have they handed in their information? They're supposed to bring it in. We will give you TV, internet, Google, GPS, maps, everything for the clubs. Development is happening. It's very exciting. But you need to make sure that your club administrators are participating. Morgs, Jerome, Mr. H, thank you very much. We'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place.
Thank you, sir.
And to those of the fans out there, we are so thrilled to have you in the mix. Club rugby season kicks off. Now it starts to get hot. Visit www.wpclubrugby.co.za website. Get into the chat zone there and see what's going on. And of course, you can follow us on Facebook. Find us there. That's a wrap from us. We'll see you guys next week, same time, same place. See you at Lentegeur. Bye-bye.